Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on today's webinar. We are honored and thrilled to have you all here. We as presenters, we are excited to show you and to introduce you the new features and improvements of what we made during the Q1. So let's go to the agenda and what you can expect in the following hour. We have amazing lineup of today's speakers and we have a huge pack of features waiting for you. We will tell you how do we continue in our strategy, which has 2 points. First point is to bring the best of Resco everywhere where it makes sense. And the second one is to address customer needs and revamp the user interface and experience. Peter will start with the inspections, entity mapping, and other improvements. I will continue with the platform part with report generation and virtual tables. Adela, our UX and UI professional, will tell you what do we do to make our products and tools much more user-friendly and appealing to our end users. And we will finish the presentation with the guides features presented by Michal. And also we will be talking about the Resco Cloud. So let's jump right now into the first part. I would like to give a word to Peter and start with the inspection part.
Okay, thank you, Edo, and hi everyone. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the news that we have prepared for you on our inspections. Let's start with data mapping. As you know, we have introduced this new feature in the last release, but this release, I will talk about improvements we have done on this feature, and I will also show you how it works in a short demo. So what issues, what problems did we tackle with this new feature? First of all, there are app users that need to update existing records directly from the questionnaire, and second, administrator who needs to set up this questionnaire to enable this feature. As you may know, we already had this option in the past, but it was very difficult to set it up. There was some coding involved or setting involved, which looked something like this, what you see on the screen. With this new release or last release, we have brought option to map individual questions. There was a small green icon on the right hand side which indicated that there is mapping enabled on this question, and you had an option to map individual questions. You also needed to know what type of field you are dealing with, and based on this you were able to set up the correct mapping for each field or each question. With this new release, we are bringing an improvement which enables you to map more questions at the same time. And it's not only mapping existing questions on your questionnaire, but you can also create new questions with this new wizard. As you can see, I'm on entity account, and on the left-hand side, you can see all available fields that you can choose from. On the right-hand side, you see fields that I have already selected. Okay, now I will show you a demo where I will demonstrate how this new functionality works. So let's open a questionnaire, which I have prepared here. We have to enable data mapping so that we can see all settings which are available under this new feature. On the right hand side, you can see what we had there in the last release, that you can map individual questions. But now with this release, as I have mentioned, you can also create new questions. So let's see how it works with a lookup question. I have here account, and again available fields and option to switch between logical names of the questions. Let's add telephone number. So you can search it and add it as simple as this. And again, here is option to set when to read data and when to write data. I want to write it on every save. So as you can see, it was very easy. The new question is created and will be visible only when the lookup question is answered, and it's set up automatically. Don't forget to change the style of the question to match your style of your questionnaire. Last thing is to save it, and of course you also have to publish this questionnaire so that it's available in your application. Now I will open test organization that I have here, field service. This is account Adrian Rodriguez with his phone number. And now I will demonstrate how this new functionality works. So I need to update my application to load in the latest questionnaire that I have just prepared. Find this questionnaire. I need to find my client, Adrian. And you can see the phone number is the same as in the database. And I want to change it because this client told me that this phone number is not correct. So I will change it. There is a 7 now on the end. And yeah, I'm saving this phone number. I'm saving changes. And the last thing, I just need to refresh my database. And you see it's working. The phone number has been changed straight away and in real time. Okay, so this was data mapping question. As you can see, we are improving our platform, so it's even more low code, no code for you, so that you don't need to do all this coding yourself, but we are preparing this simplification so your life is more easy. If you would have any suggestion or any functions that you use all the time and you don't want to code it, just let us know on the end of this webinar or send us email. We would be very happy to deal with all these suggestions. Okay, what was our motivation? As I said, we want to have better UX for questionnaire designer, and we want to improve our platform and make it even more no-code, low-code, so it's easier to work with. And as a result, you can give your workers or clients this functionality in more easy way, faster and cheaper. And field workers will of course benefit from it, and their life will be easier. Next, I will talk about UX improvements that we have brought to you with this release. So first, report preview. The problem that we have dealt with is that the way how report preview displayed is not really convenient for me. It doesn't work for me. So this is the old preview. You can see it on the right hand side, and if you had smaller screen, it didn't really work properly. So what we have done, now you can see it in the middle of the screen and it's displayed properly and in good size, so you have better overview of this preview. The next thing is styles in Report Designer. When I want to create new style, I don't want to do it manually from scratch. I want to use something which is already there and maybe just change some parameters on it. So with this report, with this release, we are bringing an option to clone styles. You can just rename them and start from existing style, so that you don't really need to start from the scratch. Next thing that we have tackled with this release is report size. For some of you, it was very difficult to imagine size of the report in pixels, and you also wanted to see this report size in different unit. So from now on, you can choose between pixels, millimeters, and inches. The next thing is size of pictures. It was difficult for some of you to really control the size of the picture on report. Therefore, we are bringing here an option to customize to have better control over picture size, and you can set width and height, and it will work for you much better than before. In some cases, it was very difficult to have overview what variables are on the report, what variables are used, what variables are there. With this release, there is a new section called variables on the left-hand side, and straight away you can see there some pre-built variables that you can use out of the box. So it's more visible for you. Maybe some of you didn't even know that we have this kind of variables built in, and you can use them straight away out of the box. So now you can see them, and you will be also able to see in this section all variables that you have prepared yourself. That would be it from me, from this release. And now I will ask Edo to tell you more about improvements that we have done on platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. So let's continue with the platform improvements and platform features what we are delivering in Q1. First one, I would like to tell you something more about reports in Dynamics 365 and Dataverse. This is a feature which we are delivering, which is still in preview mode. You can test it, you can give us feedback. So let's jump into the functionalities and what it solves, what it is. So first one, I would like to start with the customer problems. As any single feature what we are delivering, also this one addresses some problem. And with this feature, our partners and customers, they have been telling us that they cannot create reports in Dynamics or Dataverse with our own Resco solution, and they need to use third-party solutions, which are paid, which are premium, and we have been not able to deliver such kind of functionality also for the backend users. Our motivation in this feature is that feature has been heavily requested by our partners and customers, and this capability is also related to one of our top priorities, which I have been talking about, which is Resco modularization and bringing the best of Resco also to other parts of the business workflow. So what is the value of this feature? Thanks to this, partners can deliver more value to the customers with less time and effort. It's not only about the generating of reports in the field, and in some cases it is also not expected due to the business processes of every single company. So partners need to offer their clients solutions which fit their workflows and are quick to implement with no other third-party solution. So what is the solution what we are bringing to customers and partners? We are bringing basically Power Automate connector. What it does, it enables users to generate Resco reports directly in Dynamics or Dataverse without Resco mobile CRM application. And how it is being set up, it's basically, if we are providing Power Automate connector, it is being set up through the Power Automate, which is a part of the Power Platform, and it's being set up as a flow by the admin. Okay, so I also wanted to show you some visualization so you can also see how does it work. From the admin perspective, how the reports are being set is that first a Power Automate flow need to be created. We have created this type of connector, which enables companies to define first what kind of report need to be generated, on which table, and what should be done as a follow-up action. For example, create a PDF or send an email or something else. In this case, it will generate the report in the PDF format on the account entity and use specific report template generated in Resco Report Designer. So now here is the moment for some demo. How does it really work from the user point of view? So I will launch short video. As you can see, we are on the entity account. We are going to run the flow, generate Resco reports. It takes a little bit. We need to wait for the process to be launched. And basically, we will run the flow. And as you can see, it's pretty fast. And after the refresh, we can see the report has been generated on this entity. We can preview, we'll download it, preview it, send it to the customer, and here is the result. So this functionality also enables from now our customers and partners to generate reports on the backend as well. It's still in a preview. Possibly we will change, we will improve it into the other release, but you can start testing it. You can start using this functionality and let us know if you will have any other features or improvements. Another feature I wanted to show you, what we have been working on, is support for virtual tables, also known as entities, in the Dataverse and Dynamics. With this, we are solving that previously the users was not able to synchronize data from the external sources. First of all, our motivation why we are doing this, we are enabling our customers to work with data from external sources outside Dataverse, such as Microsoft SharePoint, Azure SQL, Microsoft Excel, SAP, or all the other external sources. So what is virtual table? Virtual tables, also known as virtual entities, enable the integration of data residing in external systems by seamlessly representing the data as tables in a Microsoft Dataverse, without replication of any data and often without custom coding. As you can see on this scheme, first you need to have some external data source, which is location where the external data is stored. Then you need to set up the connection. This sets up the ability to the data source and the authentication. Then it's the data provider or connection, defined behavior of the virtual table, and connection reference. This provides the way how the Dataverse is using the connection to the data source. So what is our solution with the virtual entities or virtual tables? We are bringing also the ability to use virtual tables in Resco mobile application in online and offline mode by mobile workers. So basically, from now, anybody can use also the virtual tables in our mobile offering. Just to mention how it is being set up, it's being set up first in a Dynamics or Dataverse together with the Woodford. And I will lead you, or I will give you the example how you can utilize this feature. From the setup perspective, first you need to select some external data. In this case, I will show you the SharePoint example. Then you have already running some main data source like Dataverse. Then you need to also have installed the configuration package, Resco, Woodford, and of course have a mobile application, Resco Mobile CRM. So let's show you some practical example, what you can expect and how it is being set up, these virtual entities or virtual tables. We will start in the external environment, in this case it's SharePoint. As you can see on the print screen, you are looking at the list on the SharePoint, really very simple list of employees which are onboarding into the company. Then what we need to do, we would like to get this data to the Dataverse in the form of virtual tables. So basically this is the interface within the Dataverse, and in the table section you need to basically select the new table from external data. You have more possibilities, and also the Dataverse is proposing you some kind of ready-made or prepared external data sources like SharePoint or SQL Server. In this case, we will select the SharePoint, but I would like also to mention that as you can see also for Microsoft, these external data and virtual entities are still in a preview mode. There is a lot of limitations. Not everything is supported right now at this moment. But what we expect in the future, it will be more and more used. Microsoft will invest more and more resources, and will also fine-tune the functionality of the virtual tables as well. So let's select the SharePoint as an external data source. You need to click through the sequence of steps, just how to set up this external table or virtual table within the Dataverse, map all those kind of fields or columns. And as you can see, I have already created the virtual table in the Dataverse. On the screen, you can see the employee onboarding table as a virtual. What now? Right now, we need to get it activated within Resco, so Resco can work with these virtual tables. So what you can do, open the Woodford, look for that virtual table, which is in this case employee onboarding, select the table, enable it, select those kind of columns or fields which need to be visible inside the mobile app, and set the customization rules, how it should be synced. And as you can see, also I have added this employee onboarding into the mobile application interface to be easily accessible, so I can show you how does it look like in our mobile application in Resco Mobile CRM. So it's already configured. This, what you are looking at, it's a visualization of the virtual table, which is available on the SharePoint employee onboarding. After clicking on it, you can see the predefined list of records from the SharePoint. And on the next screen, this was the original source, which was the list on the SharePoint, and I can work with that on with our mobile application. Okay, apart from the virtual tables, we also do have another improvements on the platform. I would like to highlight two of them. One is search weeks within the calendar view or by the week numbers. So simple explanation or simple visualization is like this. Anybody working with our mobile application can simply select the week number, and it will navigate the user into the specific week within the calendar, which is pretty useful feature, really requested by our customers and partners, and really usable. Second kind of feature or improvement is the basic support for file columns or file fields. These columns are now visible in the Woodford on the form, and I must mention that these file fields are read-only. They are not synchronized. The file is downloaded and cached when the user opened the form. The next time when the file is opened, it's loaded from the local storage. When the file is changed on the server side, it's basically also re-downloaded again. Okay, so that was it from my part. I would like to welcome Adela with the UX and UI improvements and updates. Thank you.
Hello world. Let's move to the UX/UI redesign of our mobile application, which is the topic that many of you are probably interested in. There are several main components in our mobile app which must be improved, and the form is the first of them. In this quarter, we did an in-depth analysis of current code, current form UI, we did some user research, and we managed to finally make a few changes which are still quite basic, but represent the very first step in the Resco UI revolution. We have to think about Woodford as well, specifically about the usability of the form designer, because those of you who are Woodford administrators, after all, participate on the final app UI as well. Perhaps one of the most important facts is that the questionnaire and the form share the same UI components in code, and our developers call it detail view. And this is important if you are asking when will the questionnaire UI be updated. Right after all the improvements which we suggest will be applied to form, we can directly switch our focus to questionnaire and apply them there as well. I'm going to start with the form designer, as it is the improvement that will be visible to all of you who are admin users in Woodford. First, we can look at how it looked until now. There are several usability problems, and one of them is that you could have two panels layout selected, which means that when you display the form on a screen wider than the mobile phone's portrait mode, the tabs were distributed into two panels. This setting, however, wasn't reflected in the canvas editor of the form designer, so you had no idea how the form will actually look in mobile app. Also, tabs were aligned vertically here, while in app they can be either aligned under each other as a long sheet, or they look really as tabs at the bottom of the screen next to each other. Also, when you had any tab other than the Detail tab selected, there was this large empty space which could give users a feeling of something incomplete. So what was done in this release? We made the first step on our way to the WYSIWYG editor. Now users can drag all kinds of tabs, objects and fields from the right pane directly to the canvas. The possibility of using this layout, left and right panel, will be useful especially for those of you who use the full screen mode of viewing the forms in mobile app, because in this mode the tabs placed to the left panel will be displayed at the left panel, and the same goes for the right panel. This way you can better influence the final UI and decide which tabs will be the most visible and how to make the best use of screen space for logically organized information. The view can also be switched to phone, where there is only one panel, and we have also significantly reduced the toolbar. So now let's move to the forms in mobile app. This is our vision. This is what we would like our app to look like after the big redesign that's going on right now. And this is what has been done at the very beginning. This is an associated list tab on form. It can have several views enabled, and when you want to switch the view, you must tap the view selector. This item, however, was quite difficult to tap due to its small touch area. And we have also moved the expand collapse button from left to right, where it's more standard and comfortable for your thumbs. And the last change is reflected in the Detail tab. We made changes to the form's paddings, which resulted in a cleaner design of the form. This design makes it easier to read the forms and reduces the information density, which helps users to better perceive the information presented to them. In addition, we have added an option to put a label to the inputs border, which is the style that the Google's material design system recommends. And this is how you can configure it in Woodford. Open the Form Designer Style Editor, and the property is named Label Position. Just change it to border top and let us know if you like how it looks on your forms. So thank you, this was everything from me, and now I'll pass my words to my colleague Michal.
Thank you, Adelka. And now it's time to jump into the topic of the Resco Cloud. So in the last release, we are delivering functionality of Cosmos database, which was partially delivered also in the last release. But this time we are giving additional functionality to have ability to select your own setup of Cosmos database. So the problem which triggered the whole idea to deliver functionality of Cosmos database was pretty simple. When our customers are using Resco Cloud heavily, they're generating a lot of content, a lot of records. So that is the reason why the logs and audit files contains a lot of records. So that's the reason why we decided to switch from the usual way of storing the data to something like a Cosmos database, which generates records into more indexed databases. So the use case was that when the system admin would like to create some query to take a look on what happened in the past while users are generating changes, then he had problems to take a look on these changes because it was really heavy and it took a lot of time by query to search the relevant part which was needed by the administrator.
And the second was that if user wanted to do some rollback changes, that it took a lot of time to get all the data and go back in time. So the solution is that we are providing connection with the Azure Cosmos database. So it means that the users and administrators especially, they have this ability to connect their log and history files to the Azure Cosmos database. So the Azure Cosmos allows administrators to work with a big amount of data. They're able to search, also access this data and use them for updating actual state of the database. So another thing which is related to the Resco Cloud and also again with the backend and the database is the external storage. This is something what I mentioned also in previous webinars. And the reason is that we want to make our database much more faster and flexible. So the reason is pretty obvious, that we want to increase the performance of the whole system. And what makes sense to do is to make the database much more lighter. So there are no images, videos, files, and so on. So we can store them on external storages. And that's the reason why we are coming with external storage providers and integrations with them to remove base 64 storage of the multimedia content directly in the database. So in this release, we are providing a solution of OneDrive. So if you are using OneDrive in your company, you're able to store the data like videos, files, images directly in OneDrive, and in the database you will be able to store only the URL to this external storage. And in this release, we are adding OneDrive, but in past we also delivered SharePoint, Azure, and S3 storage from the Amazon. So what we heavily recommend, especially when you're collecting a lot of data, pictures, videos, and attachments, that it makes sense to make these migration to external storage, and then your instance of the database will be much more faster, and the interaction with the application and synchronization will be much more smoother and quicker. Okay, that was about the backend of the Resco Cloud. Now it's time to switch to the guides, where we delivered a lot of new functionalities. I will start with the dashboard and statistics. Probably if you're a user of the guides, you know that we have the functionality of feedback. So when the user in the field works with the guide, he has the option to select feedback or do the rating of the guide itself. But in the field, if there is not a lot of time to do the feedback form, we implemented the automatic statistics. So it is something like automatic collection of the user behavior, especially the users in the field, that you are able to see which guides are used, what is the usage of these guides, how many time it was used, how many time was spent within the guides. So this is like insights of the usage of the guides. And the use case is pretty simple. When the knowledge base manager would like to know if the guides is used, if there is some problem with the guide, or people in the field are struggling with the guide itself, then when users do not do the feedback form and do not fill them, then at the end of the day, a knowledge base manager do not have any information about how the guides are used. So that's the reason why we come with the solution of automatic statistics. In the last release, we delivered functionality of collecting these insights automatically, so they're already storing in the database if you enable this functionality. And in this release, we are providing the statistics view, so you will be able to see the insights directly in the charts and lists of users, guides, and also timelines. So you'll be able to see the values, how many time was the guide used, if it was used completely, like 100% steps, how much time was spent in the guide, and you will be able to check if the specific person used the guide itself during the process of the inspection or work or the execution. So the functionality which we are delivering, or the measurements or KPIs which we are delivering, is most frequently used guides. Top users by the spend time in the guides and percentage of the usage of each guide. These statistics we will constantly improve, so in the future you can expect that there will be more KPIs that you will be able to see in the statistics. Over the top, if you like to make your custom views and custom dashboards regarding the usage of the guides, there's still possibility to connect with third-party systems like Power BI in case you need. Okay, regarding the quality of the guides, we also implemented the feature of live feedback, which was requested by our customers and partners. The problem was pretty obvious when people are in the field and they notice that there is something wrong with the guide. The only way how they can get feedback or send that information that there is something wrong is within the feedback form, which is not, let's say, good, because there is these experience problems like you finished the guide, then you went to the feedback form. Then in the feedback form, you just realized that you don't know what was the number of the step, which was not correct. So we are delivering the functionality of report problem directly from the particular step. So we are able to jump to the feedback form, or let's say the report problem form, and fill the information like what was wrong, if it was something which should be checked or maybe aligned with the existing manuals, or if you would like to add some pictures, what was not correct, you are able to take a picture and report the problem for the particular step of the guide itself. So the use case is pretty obvious. As a user who is in the field, I just realized that there is something wrong with the guide. I can report the problem directly from the step, take a picture, write a content, and send to the person who is responsible of aligning this content and fixing the issue in the guide, who is the knowledge base manager with the application of guide editor. So this is how it looks from the guides editor point of view. So you can see that we have like a badge icons and notifications directly in the application where you see that there is something wrong with the guide. You're able to check what is wrong, what is the comment, if there are some additional pictures, and you can use these pictures to automatically fix the problem which was identified directly while using the guide. So that's it from my side. I hope it was enough for this release, and I will pass my word back to Edo. Thank you so much and good luck.
Thank you, Michael, for the guides and Resco Cloud enhancement and features. It has been pretty packed webinar. We are approaching to its end, and I would like to sum it up and wrap it up everything on one slide. What you have learned today, what you can utilize, what you can offer and show to your customers. We believe that all those kind of features might have a value, and definitely have a value for your customers and for your clients. We have been learning today about the data mapping, which is basically updating of the records in the CRM. We believe that this powerful features is also bringing our inspection solution on the next level, and we will be more and more investing into this feature. We have also seen the reports in Dynamics and Dataverse, and the possibility to generate them, bringing the power of the mobile solution to the back office users. We have been speaking about the new form designer, and we still would like to provide the best of breed designer tools for rapid development, for low code, no code development. We also introduced the new form layout in a mobile application, which is basically the first step in bringing the Porsche to the mobile workforce and workers. We have amazing guides dashboard, which is complete overview, who is using guides, improving also the onboarding process overall. We also introduced the guides feedback per step, and as well some improvements and enhancements within the Resco Cloud, like introducing the new storage possibilities and adding administration tools. All the wiki documentation will be ready for you at the time of the release, and academic courses will be as well updated at least up to 1 month after release. So, and if you are interested also in all the other stuff what has been released and introduced in this release, you can still go to this URL within our Wikipedia. That was it from our side. I would like to encourage you to ask any questions during the Q&A session. So let's start the Q&A. Okay, so that was the official part of the presentation, and I will start with the first question what we have, which is, I will try to read it and ask Peter to answer that. So the question is data mapping feature still in the preview mode?
Thanks for this. No, this feature is out of preview and you can use it as any other feature that is available on our platform.
Okay. The next question is SBC is related to the report generation or document generation feature. And the question is, how can we test new feature report generation in on Dynamics or Dataverse? So basically, we would like to encourage you to participate in testing of this kind of really powerful features. This feature is still in the preview mode. We are still, a lot of you have basically asked for any kind of testing of this feature. We are still waiting for the publishing on the app source. So basically Microsoft needs to publish our connector within the app source, and we will share all those kind of information or some kind of instructions which you should follow to test it up accordingly. Okay, so the next question would be, is there any updated JS bridge file for version 16.0? The current version in GitHub is for the last version. So according to our knowledge and our information, yes, it should be updated pretty soon. If it's not there already, so it will be there. It will be updated. So the next question would be, it's a question regarding the report designer. Is it planned to also add a footer into the repeater in a report? I would like to ask my colleague Peter to take this question.
Well, thanks for this. It's definitely an interesting idea, and we will be in touch with you to learn more about your requirements, and we can take it from there. Thank you.
Okay, we see another question. Is there a way to add a company logo to all inspections reports?
I believe it should be possible via static images in Report Designer, but we can contact you later, and maybe you can learn something more from the documents which we can share with you, some documentation.
Okay, I think that's it. So thank you all for dedicating your time and staying with us. It was really a pleasure for us to share this kind of awesome information and awesome news with you. I hope that we will see each other on the next webinar, and see you soon.